H.O.O.V.E.S stands for Healing of Our Veterans Equine Services, and our mission is to enlist rescued horses to help veterans transform post-traumatic stress into post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth is a term that we use a lot around here because there's really a stigma around post-traumatic stress and what people call post-traumatic stress disorder. If you've had a traumatic thing happen to you, you're never going to be the same person. And sometimes I hear people say, I need to get back to who I was before the trauma. And that is not realistic. So what we look at is, you've had this trauma, we wish that it hadn't have happened to you, but it did, and we can't change that. But what we can change is our perception of the trauma. And so anytime we've had a challenging situation in our life, we have had some form of growth. And that's where the term post-traumatic growth comes from. My dream as a young teenager was actually to become a fashion designer. And then one afternoon, I had some girlfriends over, and my friend Andrea looked at me and said, don't you think it would be really cool if we joined the military and we could get in shape? And at the time I was just like, oh yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. We were just having a casual conversation. But my mom heard us from the other room, and within about 15 minutes, she had been on the phone with a recruiter and was now shuttling us all to the recruiting office in Holland. Being in basic training, I almost didn't want to leave. Once we got into our routine and the structure, I really adapted to that well. But that structure, I think, fundamentally changed me, and it's really been the foundation for me to be able to build everything that I've built with H.O.O.V.E.S and otherwise in my military career. The plan was actually never to come back to Swanton, but here we are. Again, I think destiny played a large part in that. But I actually grew up just a couple of miles from where the farm is at. And when I originally got out of the Air Force and moved back home, I was living in Grand Rapids, Ohio, and that's where I originally started a boarding and training farm with my father. And then I quickly realized that that was not my destiny. And little things just kind of started going wrong, and I didn't really feel fulfilled in that career. And so I made the decision to shut it all down. I was kind of at another moment in my life where I was like, okay, what's next? Because why do I have a big farm if I'm not going to board and train horses? What else is there to do with horses? I'm not really sure. And that's when I met a man named Rob, and he talked to me about equine-assisted psychotherapy. And in the beginning I thought, oh, psychotherapy on a horse? That sounds kind of weird. And Rob said, no, we do the therapy for the people, and the horse is a conduit to help them get in touch with their emotions. And as soon as he told me about it, I just knew right away that was my life path. In the infancy stages, we didn't have a focus specifically on veterans, but I went and I got my training and certification, and my dad and I launched Riverbend Equine Therapy. So H.O.O.V.E.S just started as a simple program under the umbrella of Riverbend Equine Therapy, but it's the one that stuck, and it's the one that got the most traction, and now today we only operate under H.O.O.V.E.S. One of the things that I had done after I got out of active duty was I joined the Air National Guard here at the 180th Fighter Wing in Toledo. The airmen would come in and I would get to know them, and then they would go on a deployment, and then they would come back, and they just wouldn't be quite the same. So I saw the direct need in front of my eyes, and I had learned the power of what this work can do for people. In 2013, 2 days after Christmas, my dad unexpectedly passed away. And that led into me not being able to keep the farm and most of the horses that I had at the time. While it was a devastating loss, one of the amazing things about the work that I have and the work that I teach is I use those tools to help me get through an insurmountable situation. I think one of the amazing strengths of the military is their tradition. We've tried to incorporate a lot of the traditional things in the military that reflect the positive times. And one of the things I think any veteran will say is the thing they miss most about the military is that feeling of being something bigger than yourself and the brotherhood and the sisterhood. And so we try to bring some of those elements in. When I started H.O.O.V.E.S, I was using a framework that I had been trained, but over the past 20 years, I've developed my own framework. The retreats start on a Wednesday night, so all the participants come in. They do stay here on the farm. We have bed and breakfast style rooms in the house. For Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we have an experience in the morning that is holistic, so we'll do yoga, meditation, different mindfulness practices. Then we have about 4 hours of classroom work where we actually teach veterans tools on how to manage their perceptions and regulate their nervous systems. And then in the afternoon, we take what we've learned in the classroom out to the horses, and then we get to have an equine guided experience. And we understand here that there's no cookie cutter to healing. Everybody heals differently, and people have different interests, and some things work better for others. 2 of the participants in every retreat are H.O.O.V.E.S alumni. Once you get through the program, you get 1 year of mentorship, and you also get a 90-day take-home workbook that has a daily best practice in it to help you further integrate what you learned at the retreat. And then once you can live by the principles, we invite you to come back and help the next group coming in do the same. So I've actually created a certification program, and now I'm training other veterans how to facilitate the work. One of our first certified facilitators is Tim. He was a sergeant major retired and a lieutenant on the police force, and he has so much to offer our veterans coming through. He has a lot of experience. He has multiple tours overseas. What he can provide, just taking the tools, applying the tools, radically changing his life, and then coming back to teach them is a huge inspiration.
In 2018, after my house burnt down and the difficulties that followed for the next 9 months, it really put me into a tailspin with the military and with my life in general. I started drinking heavily. I was very angry all the time. I was angry because I was angry. And then it just escalated. The suicidal ideation came back, and I was suicidal for then on. It was, if not weekly, it was bi-weekly or even daily. If I would not have come to H.O.O.V.E.S, I read one of the psychiatrist's report on me. I don't know how I got it, but he said that I would be dead within a year and a half at my own hand, because I was a raging alcoholic with suicidal ideation that will be dead within a year and a half. And that was a report that went to the VA. I've had to reach out several times because in my mind I did not want to die, but I saw no hope. And I had to reach out to other service members that I was close to that knew that what I was going through, or a portion of I was going through, and they would talk me through it. But combine that with drinking, it doesn't help. And I was self-medicating the whole time. And that's a scary thought now, because I'm truly grateful for my life. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to be here at H.O.O.V.E.S as a facilitator. I'm truly grateful to help others by giving them the tools to help heal themselves, and to realize where I came from to where I am now is just amazing.
When we put a group of veterans in the arena with the horses are going to start reading their body language, and they're going to start showing up just like the veterans are showing up. So if you are shut down, the horses will not respond to you. If you are anxious, the horses will be fidgety or anxious as well. The horses are providing a constant feedback loop. And I think what is so amazing is that when the veterans start looking in themselves and getting authentic and getting vulnerable, and they have a shift within themselves, they will immediately see a shift in one of the horses. Welcome, family, guests, donors, board members, volunteers. Thank you all so much for coming to cohort 423 graduation. The success of our participants is really on a spectrum. After you complete the program, I always tell everybody, you get out of this exactly what you put into it. And some people come through the program and they just want to sleep better at night, and they sleep better at night. Some people come through the program and they radically transform their life and actualize all their hopes and dreams. So to me, I think success in this program is being at least a little bit better than you were before you got here. And I would say most of the people that participate in the program really do find exactly what they were looking for.